How's it going, folks? My name is Robert Big Man Evans, owner and operator of the Big Man Real Estate Team, powered by eXp Realty, and welcome back to Local Living ATX. And happy to introduce you to a brand new episode of not only Local Living ATX, but a brand new segment. We're going to give a try out, neighborhood knowledge. One of the most things that people search out when we're moving around, especially even inside the same city, but especially when we're coming from out of state or whatever, is where should I live? Where should I live in that city? What neighborhood should I live in? And it can be difficult to find out the information about neighborhoods and that kind of stuff. Hence why we're giving this a shot. We're going to start out in Cedar Park, Texas, one of the most active and most coveted neighborhoods in Cedar Park is a neighborhood called Forest Oaks. So that's where we're going to start today. So let's give this a shot. Let's start out with the neighborhood itself. What it offers to the people that live there, included in their HOA fees, are two different pools. One of them is a junior Olympic sized pool. The other one is a little bit more kid friendly. They're at opposite ends of the neighborhood. You get access to both while they're open. I think they're open 9 or 10 months out of the year. They close during the obviously really cold winter months. During the summer months, they do provide a lifeguard, that kind of thing. So it's really done well. 3 different playscapes in the neighborhood, one at each of the pools, and then there's also a playscape that backs up to the green space of the neighborhood. It has a community center that can be rented out to the people that live in the neighborhood, that kind of stuff. It attaches to the kid-friendlier pool with the slide and that kind of stuff. Basketball court. And of course, this being Austin, neighborhood hike and bike trails are a big thing. When they built this neighborhood, they actually did a really good job. When they built the hike and bike trail, they also connected it directly to Cedar Park's hike and bike trail system. So it's seamless to go from the neighborhood system to the Cedar Park system. And I think just from a development standpoint, they did a really good job on that kind of thing. So after, of course, amenities in a neighborhood are important, but to me, because I have kids, school-age kids, schools are also very important. Forest Oaks is part of the Leander Independent School District. Currently, and I say currently because, lines change constantly and that kind of stuff. I would have a hard time believing that the lines on these particular schools would change just because of where the neighborhood sits in conjunction to these schools. Charlotte Cox Elementary, home of the Cox Comets, is actually at the very front of the neighborhood. The neighborhood sits between on 183 and Brushy Creek. You pass that line from Austin to Cedar Park. It's to the east side of 183A. And Cox Elementary is right there on the corner. So it's on the front part of the neighborhood. There is another elementary school on the back side, but it pushes north. So as far as the neighborhood as an entirety, it goes to Cox Elementary. Then up the street, and again, one of the reasons this neighborhood is so popular, especially if you have school-age children, which statistically the majority of the neighborhood does, all 3 of these schools are, you could say, walking distance. I mean, they are literally within, I think, I don't know specifically the mileage, but I would think that all 3 schools on any given point in Forest Oaks are within a quarter to a half a mile. I mean, it's walking distance for especially middle school and high school. So the middle school is tied into is Henry Middle School, which is also right off of Vista Ridge Boulevard. The high school being Vista Ridge High School. Middle school, home of the Hawks. Vista Ridge High School, home of the Rangers. All 3 of these schools, Henry Middle School, Vista Ridge High School. Now, when I say Vista Ridge High School, depending on what your kids do, this one in 2018, Vista Ridge High School won, I believe, first place in their state championship for marching band. They have an award-winning drama department at Vista Ridge High School. The football program is typically very competitive. So extracurriculars, Lander ISD as a whole tries to do a lot of that kind of stuff. But this particular high school seems to be, at least currently, doing very well in a lot of the extracurricular, that kind of stuff. I'll provide a link where you can actually look up all the testing and scholastic scores and all that kind of stuff. That's available through Leander ISD's website on all the schools in their stuff. So I'll give you a link to that and that kind of thing. So after schools, let's talk about the market. Like, what does it cost to get into Forest Oaks? This is one of those neighborhoods that actually has a really wide range. Now, currently it's December, so the number of transactions typically lower, of course, in this month. So there's currently only 5 actives, and even one of those 5 actives is technically pending. It's active contingent, meaning it's under contract, but kind of still available. 7 pending. We have no idea when they're going to close, that kind of thing. And of course, 17 sold in the last 90 days. Now, what these numbers tell us is currently there is about a month worth of inventory, right? If everything was to stay the same, that means currently in the last 90 days, we've sold about 5 houses a month, which means if no more came on the market, we would have about 30 days of inventory, right? When people start saying days of inventory, that's what they mean, right? What has happened in the last 3 to 6 months, how many homes is sold on monthly average, and then how does that equate to what we know is currently on the market, right? So that will increase. It always does every spring, summer, as people get ready to move, that kind of stuff. But right now, your 17 sold, that's, not bad. Kind of slow on, for a fall, but 234 to 544. So what I was saying earlier is the neighborhood itself, Forest Oaks, is a really wide range of pricing. Obviously, from 234 to 544, that's a pretty big range. And the reason is let me move to this next slide here. The reason is there are 3 different sections of Forest Oaks in how it was built and that kind of stuff. It's not a neighborhood where they just came in and all of one time built houses for 5 or 10 years, and they built basically the same type of house or same size of house there's been a lot of different builders and a lot of different ways this neighborhood came together. So you've got 3 different sections with 3 completely different price ranges. The first one, being, I'm going to start with the lower price and go up. From the 230s to 300s, I mean, really anywhere in the 200s. There's a back section of garden homes, part of them back up to 183A, and then kind of spread out a little bit. It's wrapped around the pool that was built and the community center that was built second. And when I say garden homes, these are your white picket fences, very small front and backyards. The homes are right next to each other on much smaller lots. Any of them they're smaller homes from a square footage standpoint, and any of them that are bigger than 1,100 square feet, they go up instead of out, meaning they go 2 stories to get a 1,400 square foot home, that kind of thing. Because they're just smaller homes. So of course they're at the bottom of the price range. And then you have the majority of Forest Oaks that was built from around the mid 90s to early 2000s. These homes, there are a lot of different builders, a lot of different how they were built and that kind of stuff. What went in them, how big they are, what size lots they are, that kind of stuff. Some of them have views. Forest Oaks kind of sits in a situation where part of the neighborhood is small hills, that kind of stuff. So some of them have views and that kind of thing. Of course, we have green space, that kind of stuff. So the prices of those can range from the 300,000s up to about 400,000 for the really big ones. The really nice ones, if they back up to the green belt on cul-de-sac bigger lots, that kind of stuff. And then you have the back section that was actually built last. It was, I think it started about 2008, 2009, and then it finished up in 2011. Now, there are a couple of lots in this neighborhood that are currently, one of those homes that are actually currently active is a to-be-built home where someone has come in and bought an empty lot that was left, and they're planning on building a home. They're not started, but they're planning on building a home. But there's not a lot of those left. The builder, right, big name builders or medium builders that built this sections, finished up in about 2011. These homes that were built later in this back section, and there's only one way in and one way out of this back section, which is one of the appeals for a little bit newer home as well. And they did a very good job in this back section of building a just a nice home, right? So that they spend a lot of time and effort. The lots back here are bigger, that kind of stuff. And these homes go from 400 plus, right? So that 544 price range you saw, so 400 ish, all the way up to that 544. The 544 is that really top end. One of the biggest houses. There's only a couple of them built in the neighborhood. You're talking about that type of home that recently sold. You're talking about 2 masters, 1 downstairs, 1 up. You're talking about 5 or 6 bedrooms, something like that. And amenities through the roof. Pools are pretty prevalent in this neighborhood. There's a lot of homes sold with those, that kind of stuff. So there can be a lot of different reasons for the wide range. Those are the reasons for Forest Oaks. It seems to be a great community with a lot to offer in Cedar Park. If that's something that, schools are a big deal for you, amenities from the neighborhood are a big deal for you, that close to schools, that kind of stuff. So again, that's our segment for today for Cedar Park's Forest Oaks neighborhood. Neighborhood knowledge. If you love the name, great, let us know. If you don't like the name and you think we should call it something else, great, let us know. But I appreciate your time. We'll do more of these. If there's a particular neighborhood you want to know more about, that kind of stuff, just reach out, comment below. Please subscribe. We'll keep doing these for you, and we'll talk to you next time around. Have a great day.